January 31st, 2021. Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the 6 p.m. Prime News on Camdis Television. We begin right away with our major stories. The president of CAF Football, the Federation, Patrice Motsepe, after an emergency meeting, has lifted the suspension of the Olympic Paul Stadium after a stampede that left 8 people dead last January 24 during the match between Cameroon and the Comoros Islands. At least 8 shops have been consumed by white flames in Konsamba Market. The fire that started in a dustbin spread into nearby stores over the weekend. The Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Ashir Basili Kendete, has presided over the Yaoundé Regional Forum on capacity building of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises of the cassava sector in the African Continent Free State area. Objective to boost cassava production and increase cassava exports from Central Africa. We'll be bringing you more details in some minutes to come. Thanks for joining us. If you're just tuning in, this is the 6 p.m. Prime News on Camdis Television. We will be receiving Kungaba Leonard after this first paper. He is the Vice National President, Socialist Youth of the Social Democratic Front Paper Party. We begin right away. At least one match of the semi-finals of the African Cup of Nations will be played at the Olembe Pobia Stadium in some days to come. This decision came after an emergency meeting was held by the president of CAF, uplifting the ban or suspension that followed after about 8 people died following the stampede that occurred last January 24th, leaving 8 people and several injured at the Olympic Stadium. We'll be having more details with Bertrand Tita.
The emergency meeting was convened by the head of the African Football Confederation, which also saw the reopening of the Olympic Stadium for the end of the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. The Minister of Sport and Physical Education, Nassis Moele Kambi, in its report dated January 28, 2022, following the stampede which killed 8 and injured 38, firstly blamed on the flow of population on point 14, 15 and 16, which therefore reflects the limits of the population to have access into the stadium. Legal proceedings could sanction the action brought the day after the investigation prescribed by the head of state, maintains Nassis Moele Kambi. The Confederation of Africa Football that received this report quickly organized a meeting which resulted in the reopening of the stadium, which will host the final of the Africa Cup of Nations. Unanimously to lift the suspension imposed on the Olympic Stadium and to authorize one of the semi-finals of the Continental Football Festival as well as the final match to take place at the Olympic. CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe, after receiving the 5-page report, convened a meeting of the AFCON Organizing Committee to discuss the report drawn up by the CAF Safety and Security Department in collaboration with the local organizing committee on the circumstances of the tragedy at the Olympic Stadium. The report highlighted the numerous meetings and inspection sessions that were held at the site of the tragedy with senior officers representing the police, the gendarmerie, the army, as well as high-ranking Cameroonian ministers in particular, from defense, the police, including the governor of the central region and other stakeholders. He further highlighted the recommendations and interventions to ensure that a tragedy of this nature never repeats itself. Having taken note of the government's recommendations and commitment regarding additional security measures in addition to those which have already been successfully implemented at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium during the Morocco-Malawi match and at the Japoma Stadium during the Gambia-Cameroon match, the CAF Organizing Committee has unanimously decided to lift the suspension imposed on the Olympic Stadium and to authorize one of the semi-finals of the AFCON as well as the final match to take place at the Paul Biya Stadium. In conclusion, CAF, the local organizing committee and the government of Cameroon having considerably reinforced security and resources at the Olembe Stadium, are convinced that the safety and security of spectators and visitors will be ensured.
It is good news. One of the semi-finals match will definitely take place at the Olembe Pobias Stadium here in Yaoundé. We've been joined in the studio by Lionel Kungaba. He is the Vice National President of Socialist Youth of the SDF Party. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening, Anne, and good evening to all our viewers. It's always a pleasure to be on Content TV in order to talk about issues concerning our country. It's a pleasure being here this evening.
You're welcome, sir. Today we'll be talking about the AFCON 2021 that is ongoing in Cameroon. It began since on the 9th of January 2022. The problem now is we have several comments on social media, the good and the bad. So what do you think about the organization of this AFCON 2021 in Cameroon?
I think Cameroon has so far, as the competition is going on, prove that they are capable to organize such huge events or continental events. This is a proof that if the political will is there, we'll even be able to organize the World Cup in the days ahead. So I will say for now, the marks that I will be giving to the organization of the AFCON going on in Cameroon will be an average mark of 11 on 20, and 11 on 20 is a pass mark, and we are expecting to see changes occur during the upcoming semi-finals and the final.
The unfortunate incident that occurred on January 24th, this 2022, leading to about 8 people losing their lives and several injured. What can we say, and can we say who is to be blamed when it comes to this?
Yeah, but it's but clear that there's a local commission that was put in place, and the local commission that was put in place at subcommissions, and one of the subcommissions was the Commission of Security. And when we talk of the Commission of Security, we talk about the security in and out of the field. And I think the dispositions that were put in place around the field, the causes of what happened, because you can't be doing COVID tests at 10 meters away from the And when Cameroonians saw the lovely go into the field, and they were still lined up waiting for the COVID test to be done and every other thing. It was unfortunate that the behavior of some Cameroonians pushed to this incident, which we all regret, and we want to call the attention of the local commission or organization commission that they should be responsible. Responsibility, because that was their job, and they didn't do it. Not really their job, because the death of 8 Cameroonians injured are still in the hospitals today, and we think things like that can be prevented by doing things normally as it's been requested. And we think that if security measures were put in place and first aid also was well organized, this would have not happened. I want to talk here about my personal observations about the insufficient number of security men that was put in place during that match, and also the organization of this AFCON competition. Because when you look at the population and see how people were trying to even cross the gate to get into the field, and the few policemen and volunteers that were there could not even stop them. And some of these volunteers even get injured because they were there trying to push the gate and they were pushed away by this crowd. That is it. I think we regret the situation, but we also call on the attention of the local organizing committee, which is headed by Mwale Kombi, who is the Minister for Sport and Physical Education, to take proper measures. We have seen the two latest match at the Amadou East Dio Stadium. The security measures have been a bit ameliorated, but I want to say Olembe is not Amadou Edo Stadium. When you say a match is at Olembe, many people first of all go there for curiosity, and when you say Indomitable Lions are playing, expect all Cameroonians at the field.
Okay, we continue with the Indomitable Lions. We are rejoicing today because they qualified for the semi-finals after beating the Scorpions of Gambia, that is in Douala, on Saturday. The match was on Saturday. Do you think they merit that position, and do you believe that they are going to arrive at the finals?
I think the Indomitable Lions, first of all, have the advantage that they are playing home. I want to say they didn't give their best for the first phase of this competition, and fortunately, during the quarterfinals, I saw different Indomitable Lions. I saw a different team. I saw a team that have been able to put a game together, that have been able to try to work out a team, and we saw the result and the outcome. We asking if the Indomitable Lions will arrive at the finals. Of course, I'm a Cameroonian, and a proud Cameroonian, and I am with the Indomitable Lions, and I think sport is that factor which makes you feel you are a patriot, feels you belong to a country or to a nation. We saw journalists from other countries yesterday fighting after a match. Why were they fighting? Fighting because of the results that came out of the match between their two teams. We saw people on social media tasking Cameroon of corruption and everything, because the crisis, that the health crisis that is affecting the world, unfortunately 9 players of Kmer came to get into that crisis, and they were tested positive COVID, and many people did not understand that Cameroon is not the one testing, or our medical personnel are not the one testing, that CAF gave this assignment to an independent firm that came to this country and is testing all the teams. And we also witnessed a unifying factor on social media. Cameroonians of all political parties, Cameroonians of all the regions, Cameroonians of every villages came out as one to fight other countries who tried to blackmail our country or to insult our country. And I was very happy to see that that is something that if those in power today are visionary, they can use that as a unifying factor. And when you look at the Indomitable Lions, you look at the effective of the English-speaking players, you ask yourself questions, and you see at least the one that is being given the chance to play, what is the outcome.
Talking about the unifying factor, football as a unifying factor now, it is true that Cameroon, the English-speaking regions of Cameroon, not also forgetting the north with the Boko Haram, they have been hit by some social political crisis. Do you think this football taking place in the country can also contribute to bring peace and unite Cameroonians?
Yes, and I think, as I said earlier, those who are at the helm of the government or at the head of the state would have used this opportunity to create activities or events, or create scenes that will help unify Cameroonians more and better. This, as you look at all the matches who went on in the southwest, despite the quacks that we had at the training spot in Boya, but all the matches went on very well at the Limbe Sports Stadium, and we were happy. We saw the population out who went to watch those matches, and I think it is very important that Cameroonians trying to understand and accept peace. And if sport can be a unifying factor, why not? I just took an example here. We saw Ivorians attacking Cameroonians on social media, and you saw the way Cameroonians were united to fight back. If we can unite all together to fight the enemy in our country and to talk peace and bring back peace in the English-speaking regions and the far north, because when we talk of the crisis zone in Cameroon, we usually forget the far north and the eastern region of Cameroon. I think they are also affected by a lot of crises, and we have to put them in our plans, because if we are solving crises in the northwest and southwest without solving those of the far north and the eastern region, we will still have a lot of problems. So sport is a unifying factor. Sport is a factor that has to be used by those governing us today, those at the helm of the state, to try to bring peace or to bring Cameroonians together.
Okay, thank you very much for coming, Kungaba Lionel. Just to remind our viewers that he is the Vice National President of the Socialist Youth of the SDF party. Thank you once more for coming.
Thank you, Anne. It's a pleasure always being on Cam10 TV. I want to thank the General Manager and the management of Cam10 TV.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Dear televiewers, we continue right away with the semi-finals fixtures of the 2021 African Cup of Nations that have finally been released. After Cameroon and Burkina Faso secured the places after beating Gambia and Tunisia respectively. In this report, Anglophone will be telling us the situation of the Pharaohs of Egypt and Teranga Lions and more of yesterday's encounter. Let's listen to him in this report.
Among the 24 nations that were on the starting block of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon earlier this month, only 4 are still standing, and following this year's AFCON calendar, all 4 will only leave Cameroon from the 7th of February 2022 after the 3rd place and final must have given their verdict. The 4 nations still standing include host Cameroon, Egypt, Senegal and Burkina Faso, who all secured their semi-final tickets over the weekend. The indomitable Lions of Cameroon were the first to qualify for the semis on Saturday after beating the Scorpions of the Gambia 2-0 at the Japoma Stadium in Douala. Karl Toko Ekambi netted in 2 goals to take his total tally of goals to 5. They will now face the Pharaohs of Egypt this Thursday, 3rd February 2022 at the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé. Egypt, on her part, eliminated the Atlas Lions of Morocco at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium by 2-1 after 120 minutes of play. Mohamed Salah was the main architect of the Egyptian victory and qualification with 1 goal and an assist for Mohamed Trezeguet, despite Egypt going down a 1 goal in the early minutes of the game, with Soufiane Boufal scoring at the 6th minute from this penalty spot. The other semi-final fixture will pit the Stallions of Burkina Faso against the Teranga Lions of Senegal this Wednesday, 2nd February 2022 at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé, while the Stallions of Burkina Faso edged the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia 1-0 thanks to Dango Ouattara on Saturday at the Rumdiaja Stadium in Garoua. The Teranga Lions of Senegal gave the Nzalang National of Equatorial Guinea a 3-1 spanking at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium in Yaoundé. Sadio Mane, despite not featuring on the score sheet, was the playmaker of his team as the boys of Aliou Cisse spoiled the party in Malabo by eliminating a stubborn Equatorial Guinea. The thousands of football fans who made it to the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium this Sunday were marveled with the quality of games played. 2 Liverpool stars, Mohamed Salah of Egypt and Sadio Mane of Senegal, also thrilled their fans in Yaoundé.
We now continue with sports. The Indomitable Lions have sent a strong warning message to their next opponents in this African 2021 Cup of Nations. And the boys of Antonio Conceição won the Scorpions of Gambia over the weekend 2 goals to 0. It is a way to say that the Indomitable Lions are more prepared than ever before. Aizingonkung was in Douala where the match took place and brought back this report.
Saturday's quarter-final clash between the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon and the Scorpions of the Gambia lived up to expectations at the Japoma Stadium in Douala. The gates of the stadium were opened as early as midday to allow the fans of the Indomitable Lions enough time to get into the stadium and enjoy the game in all serenity. After going through the security and health checks, the football enthusiasts thronged into the Japoma Arena in their numbers to push their darling team to victory. The game proper was set rolling at exactly 5 p.m. and Cameroon took control of the game from start to finish, with Karl Toko Ekambi scoring 2 beautiful goals to give joy to the thousands of supporters at Japoma, Cameroon, and the world at large. Many football fans expressed satisfaction with the general performance of the Indomitable Lions and are optimistic the Lions will roar again when they take on the Pharaohs of Egypt at the semi-final come Thursday, February 3rd, 2022 at the Olembe Stadium in Yaoundé.
We now move over to the North region where a fan group called the Sarah Community in Garoua have organized a fan zone to support the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, especially their beloved son, Abubakar Vincent. The fan zone hosted a gathering during the weekend to support the Lions. We have more details with Aizingonko.
Supporting the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon to lift high the 2021 trophy of the Continental Football Fiesta is the objective of the Sarah Community in the North region. A mobilization around Captain Abubakar Vincent is significant. This is following the good performance of the Lions in their den in general and that of the captain in particular.
They are our children. They are guys who are playing for the national team. These guys have been giving us a formidable glory, and it is lots of joy for us because they are our children. That is why we have this club, and this fan zone is out to support them with our association. As you can see, everyone is putting on their uniform. We really support these young players and the Lions in general. You can see the jerseys. We also made T-shirts for our fans.
Les Lions en général. Vous voyez les maillots par exemple, on a sorti des T-shirts.
The Sarah Community undertakes on behalf of their Lenoji Association to organize special fan zone to give the Cameroon national team every chance and support that will motivate themselves through.
N'est-ce pas, le flambeau du Cameroun.
I would like to continue carrying high the flag of Cameroon, and as we have in our fan zone here in Rumde Aja, we wanted to encourage the children to go ahead. Talking of football proper, notably Abubakar Vincent and the others, we are behind them to push them to go ahead. That is the reason for the creation of this fan zone. And a voice over.
This initiative, which has won the support of all the active forces of the Sarah community, will continue and intensify as the Lions continue to prove that they are the kings of the forest. It ended in a smooth atmosphere following the victory of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon on the Gambia 2 goals to 0 over the weekend at the Japoma Sport Complex in the nation's economic capital, Douala. The Lions patiently wait for the clash of the Titans, El Clasico of the continent, as they will take on the Pharaohs of Egypt this Thursday at the Olembe Stadium in one of the semis of the ongoing continental tournament.
The Minister of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Achille Basili-Kendetet, presided this day over a 2-day Yaoundé Regional Forum on capacity building of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Objective to see how to improve cassava production and small and medium-sized enterprises to see how to expand this in Cameroon and Africa as a whole. We have details. Let's listen to the Minister's excerpt.
is really one of the bedrocks in terms of the livelihoods of farmers in our country. And the International Trade Center and the Economic Community of Central Africa States decided to organize this regional forum here in Yaoundé to first confirm the leadership of our country in the production of cassava, but at the same time also to take advantage of the value chain that already exists in our country, but to ensure that they can expand it to the various countries of our sub-region. And we believe that following this regional seminar, the main objective being the definition and the implementation of a regional program that supports the development of productive capacities of micro, small and medium-sized enterprises in the cassava sector. A program is going to be launched, and from that program we will ensure that producers in that sector are really developing byproducts that meet not only the norms but also the quality standards, and are fully positioned to take advantage of this common market of 1.2 million consumers. And from there, I am quite convinced that we will open new gates in terms of improving the living standards of those involved in this value chain of the cassava sector, but also create new opportunities for them. And the future is bright, and we are very happy that we have been involved in the organization of this process that was launched by the International Trade Center and the Economic Community of African States in the
About 8 shops have been consumed at the Konsaba Marché B market yesterday evening. It is said that the market got burned as a result of a dustbin where fire broke out not far from the stores. We have more details with Rufonio.
Some vendors of the Konsamba B market, precisely those of the poultry sector, are in tears because of a fire incident which broke out this Sunday at about 8:30 p.m. and ravaged 8 shops. The fire said to have come from a place where traders and buyers were wont to dump garbage was found behind shops, and before then, the mayor of the town had arranged things in such a way that the garbage will go directly to the can. But unfortunately, this didn't change any situation.
It burnt down 7 magazines. Me talking to you, that is my own shop, all in arches. It is with gains from here that I feed my children. I take care of the small family God has given me. That's the shop.
Before the arrival of firefighters, merchants in large numbers had been mobilized to give a lively, instantaneous response to the flames and some burning places.
We
want people to stop throwing garbage behind shops. So the mayor of the town brought a place where the dirt can be thrown. Beyond fears and concerns, certain behaviors would be castigated and at the origin of this fire in this place, which would never have housed the large trash can of the market on which someone would certainly have it lit, the fire at the end of the day.
The operations created by Elections Cameroon is taking its full course in the west region of the country. So far, 781 potential voters have registered in the Bafoussam 1, 2 and 3 subdivisions. It is sure that by August 2022, the number of voters will certainly increase. Gerardine Nasser tells us more in this report.
Officials in charge of referendum and electoral operations in the West region have held a working session in an open operation for the revision of the electoral list. According to statistics, 781 potential voters have already registered as of January 28, 2022 in the Bafoussam 1, 2 and 3 subdivision. The challenge has been launched and an increase in number of voters is expected by August 2022.
By the end of the registrations, the process of registration on the 31st of August each year. So we collect all the data, concentrate them at the regional delegations and transfer them to the National Biometric Election Center in Yaoundé. So from there, provisional voters register are published, and at that moment we call all the election stakeholders of the council to come and consult those lists so as to find out what have been omitted or those who have been removed due to death and other reasons. Are they still on the list and so on. So after that we make a report and send again to the National Biometric Election Center so as to produce the final voters register by the 30th of December each year. So by the time the final voters register are produced, each and every one will be settled on these registrations. So if it's happened that during the year you have registered so many times, mind that only the last registrations is accepted. So you will go to the council branch where you have registered for the first time, you will not find your name. But we have a special list for those who have been removed from the system. We produce also a special list for those who have been transferred from one council to others. So there are so many informations you can get after the final voters registrations are made available. So the system is so much sophisticated that you cannot be registered. A single citizen cannot register itself more than one time, and you cannot be present more than one time in one voter's list. So this is the reality.
During the session, an assessment of the state of play was made with a view to raising the various difficulties and giving the prospect for boosting the rate of this current year. In the meantime, all eyes remain reverted on the population, the elites and the political parties so that these links in the chain come to the aid of Elecam for the success of the massive registration operation on the Elecam list.
That report on elections Cameroon done to us by BrigadeAntiSardinard brings us to the end of a 6 p.m. Prime News on Camdis Television. We'll take another rendezvous tomorrow when it's exactly 6 p.m. But do not go away. We have other news with Desiree Trezo Mbune at 8 p.m. Have a blessed evening in the company of interesting programs on Camdis Television.